All right, guys, welcome back into another NFL preseason DFS video. Have the Saturday afternoon slate here for you guys. If you missed it, I went live for the morning slate. We'll see how that one goes. I ended up kind of just attacking more of the afternoon game, which is like the Bills versus the Colts. We'll see how that is going to go. We'll see. It could be fun. But this one, we got a nice solid slate. And honestly, there are two easy plays that we can make and then two really strong quarterback plays that we can make as well. I got a sneaky stack for you, and like this slate is going to be fun, I think. I am very excited to get into this slate. It should be a very profitable slate. Unlike the morning slate where it wasn't as like straightforward, where it's a lot of making educated guesses, this slate we have just easy plays out there. So I'm excited for it. Let's get into this one. And once again, guys, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed the coverage, make sure to like and subscribe. I do appreciate that. Have grown a lot already just in the past week covering this. I think that just is an echo of the amount of time I put into this for you guys so that we can have a profitable slate kind of each and every slate. It's a deep dive each and every time. So with it being a bigger slate, I'm kind of going to go the route that I went last time where we are just going to be covering the top plays on the slate, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with the quarterback spot. We're going to start off with the Miami Dolphins. So the Miami Dolphins are in an interesting spot. Tua is not expected to play. We'll see. If he does, it might just be a drive. We'll see. I don't expect him to play, but you never know. Once that's confirmed, then we'll have a better indication of what to do. So Teddy Bridgewater, obviously a veteran quarterback, if he plays. And if he plays a full half, that is intriguing. This could be like the Brian Hoyer situation with the New England Patriots where you get a veteran quarterback in there against backups. They're likely to score a touchdown. It's just how much playing time do they get? Skylar Thompson is kind of just like Bailey Zappi there, which I don't know how to say his last name still. I should have looked that up, but it's much more like that where once those players kind of get their playing time and get their reps, then Skylar Thompson's going to come in, and he could come in at the end of the second quarter, but more likely than not, the playing time in the second half is guaranteed, okay? So he is someone that I like a lot, just kind of looking at the playing time potential, and you could easily stack him as well. So Skylar Thompson, let's say if we want to play him, you could easily stack him with, some of these receivers. You got Preston Williams and Lynn Bowden, who are kind of both trying to make the team, but also trying to play well enough to get their trade value up. And the Miami Dolphins, it benefits them either way. So if they play well, good for them. They can make the roster. Or if they play well, they have some trade value as well. So you could go with one of those guys. I actually like Lynn Bowden a little bit more, Lynn Bowden Jr. He's a decent play. But then you got two rookies that are really getting a lot of praise out of camp. The fourth-round receiver here, not going to butcher his last name. We got Eric E. There we go. He's been getting some hype out of camp. And if you look at some of the plays that he's been making, he is someone that looks decent. Like I honestly really like this stack. And then you go with the other one, Braylon Sanders, who undrafted rookie free agent. He's been getting a lot of hype out of camp as well. I expect these guys to have a good connection in the second half. And this is one of those lineups, like starting out here, where if you make this build, it's going to suck for a majority of the game. And then the second half comes, and then the fourth quarter comes. They start passing the ball a little bit more. I actually like this a lot. And one thing you could do as well is, yes, there are going to be backups playing. You could even go Tampa Bay defense there if you wanted to, just with the backups playing. Yeah, sure, we're going to stack them. But at the same time, there are probably going to be mistakes made. So it kind of could go hand in hand there. A decent route to go with. Now, looking at another quarterback that I really like, it's going to be Ian Book. So how it sits right now is that Winston, not expected to play. He's day-to-day. And then you have Andy Dalton. Now, Andy Dalton might play, but given the fact that Winston is day-to-day, that might make sense for Andy Dalton just to be there as like an emergency quarterback. So I kind of expect Ian Book to play a majority of the snaps and maybe even the full game. So he is someone that I think makes a lot of sense. You could even put him out there solo if you want to, because Ian Book should play a majority of the snaps, and he could even play a full game. So I think he makes a lot of sense. So let's just get these players out of there, and we'll put Ian Book in there because, once again, I think he makes a lot of sense. And then receiver-wise, you could stack him a little bit. You have Kirk Merritt gaining a lot of love, and he is one of those receivers that likes or that can get open, and I really like those types of receivers that get open. It's just one of those things I like to target because it should mean that they have a nice, safe floor. So he is someone that I would be going out of my way to play in book builds. And then we also have like Chris Olave. You could go with the rookie receiver, kind of needs to prove himself. I don't mind him. I kind of wanted to read that blurb on Michael Thomas there. I don't mind going with Chris Olave, the rookie receiver. Kind of needs to prove himself. He's currently listed as a backup, so he is someone I actually like as well. You could easily start this stack out here, and it's looking like a good build. From there, we're going to get into the running back room. So the running back, there are a bunch of quality running backs, and I'll just be touching on the ones that I like the most. And I'm going to save the best one for the end of this segment here. We're going to start off with Kenneth Walker, though. So Kenneth Walker is a decent play here. Rashad Penny is going to sit. You have DJ Dallas and Travis Homer, who are kind of competing for that third running back spot. And then you got Darwin Thompson, who, all right, he's okay. And then you got Josh Johnson. Don't really know much about him. But the fact of the matter is they want to get some film on Kenneth Walker. They're probably going to use him a little bit in the passing game. Should get a couple of targets. The problem with him is just how much is he going to play, because he already is kind of the backup running back, and we don't know exactly how much that's going to equate to playing time. So that's the worry with him. We can flip over to another running back in this game. I actually really like Jaylen Warren. So one of the things the Pittsburgh Steelers have kind of done is relied on their younger players throughout the preseason. Heck, last year, they, for some reason, ran Harris a decent amount in the preseason. They've ran Mcfarlane a decent amount in the preseason before. Like, this is kind of nothing new. So I do kind of expect Warren, who is kind of a standout player in camp, to actually get a decent amount of run in this. He is kind of a quick twitch type of running back. So if he gets some targets in the passing game, I could see that happening. So he's actually one of the running backs I like a decent amount in this one. Also, Anthony McFarlane getting some hype out of camp. And then just touching on some other running backs that I like, just kind of real quick doing it. We have Pierce here. So Pierce is in a backfield with a bunch of veteran running backs who, A, it doesn't really make sense for them to play in this game, and B, he is actually listed behind them. So I like that. So that means he should get playing time in this game. That means they kind of want to see what they have in him. They're not as confident in him thus far. So I think there's a path for him to have some quality touches and playing time in this game, and I actually really like that. You look at Tony Jones Jr. for the Saints. I don't mind him. I like him more as a stacking play. And then another running back that I do like is going to be Jake Funk. So Jake Funk's an interesting play. It's kind of like the Christian Wilkerson play where there's not that much hype with him. It's more or less I know what he can do, and I kind of just think the Rams want to see him kind of put that together on some film as well. He could easily be kind of a deep sleeper, whether Henderson, they don't like to trust his workload. And if one of Henderson or Cam Akers were to get injured, I could see Jake Funk kind of being that secondary running back. I like the player, and that's kind of why I like him on the slate. That's really all it is to it. And then we get into kind of the obvious plays here. The Dallas Cowboys. So Zeke not expected to play. Tony Pollard, you don't really want to overuse him. You got Waddle there, who is Rico Dwaddle, who he's questionable. He's not going to play. And then you have Ryan Nall, who he actually would have been in a great spot here, guys. But he is questionable to play. He's not supposed to play. Malik Davis. So he is kind of a quick twitch scat back there. Really, he's just going to be forced into playing time. It seems like he could get a majority of the snaps. He could get like 12 carries in this one and maybe 15 total touches because they really just don't have anyone else. You look at the running back room there, they got Anthony Shampling. I don't know. He's a Harvard running back. And honestly, guys, I could not find that much news on him besides the fact that he had COVID just 6 days ago, okay? Or he returned to practice just 6 days ago from COVID. That's not much. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I recently had it. Some of you guys know that on the channel. Like, that can be tough to come back from. I don't expect him to be like 100%, but he might be forced into some playing time. But that really just means Davis is going to be the guy to go with on the site. Like, he's just a standout, easy plug and play. Unless he gets injured, then we're hurting. And I do expect that they probably signed someone to the practice squad. I didn't see anything confirmed yet, but I would expect there to be someone active. And that's something probably later on in the day we'll get news on that. So switching up into the receiver, I do really just want to target stacks in this one. I think that's definitely the route to go, but just looking at Seattle's receiving core, there are some injuries here. So Swain's out, Estridge is out, Goodwin's out. Then you got Tyler Lockett and Metcalf. Don't really expect those guys to play too much. Okay, so that really leaves us with still a lot of receivers to choose from, but there is one that is kind of standing out in camp. They drafted him because of his raw athleticism, okay? He went to a small college, and he really dominated at that college, okay? The thing is, like, you never know how that player in a small college, how that play is going to translate to the NFL. Well, thus far, they really like what they've seen out of him in camp. He is someone that should play a decent amount, probably in the second half. But it wouldn't shock me if he like goes out and has a solid, big game. He kind of is like DK Metcalf, just athleticism wise, but obviously just not as good, not a complete receiver like him. He kind of looked that way, I guess, against the competition at his old school, but he is someone where if he has a good game, it's not going to surprise me. And if there's any showdown sites out there, he'd be someone that I would like to target. George Pickens as well, guys. Like, the thing with the Steelers is they do like to use younger players a lot. We saw James Washington contribute in past preseasons, Chase Claypool contribute in past preseasons, Juju Smith-Schuster. Like, the list goes on for these guys that were supposed to be the next big thing, and then they actually become the next big thing. Like, Pickens is that exact guy. He's a young receiver. They want to see what they got in him. They want to see if he can contribute. It actually makes a lot of sense for him to get some playing time. And also given the fact that he has been making a lot of plays in camp, getting a lot of camp hype, he's someone that I would be targeting as well. I already touched on the Miami stacks there, and I already touched on the Saints stacks there. One stack that I want to get into here. Well, I got one last receiver play before I get into that stack. Simone Fioco from the Dallas Cowboys. He's someone that I actually liked in last year's preseason because I really liked the film. Coming out of college, I thought he was just like a solid player that should be able to dominate against second stringers. Well, apparently he's having a good camp now, so maybe he just kind of finally figured it out. If he has a good game, that would not shock me. And then just kind of like honorable mention plays, just real quick. We got some of the LA players, Tutu Atwell, Ben Showrunak, terrible, and then Joe Reed. Like, those are kind of just lineup fillers. If you're making a lot of builds, like, I wouldn't mind those guys. They're all players that I think will make some points. It's just how many will they make? That's up for you guys to decide. But really, the one stack I kind of like the most here starts out with quarterback listed as tight end, Jeff Driscoll. Okay, so just looking at it right now, Kyle Allen, he's not playing. Okay, he's got COVID, not playing. Davis Mills, you kind of don't want him to play. Okay, he probably will play a little bit, but you really don't want him to play that much now that Kyle Allen has COVID and you're down another quarterback now. Doesn't really make sense for him to play all that much. Okay, so that means that Jeff Driscoll listed at tight end, and this is just, I think we should put the lock button in here, just logically speaking. Jeff Driscoll as a tight end. Tight end points are hard to come by, guys. It's literally just a guessing game. It's probably the hardest one to predict. We can get pretty much like 7 DK points locked in here at the tight end spot. Just do it. I think he should almost be 90% owned. I'm not even joking. Okay. Like, he's a rushing quarterback. He's going to get a majority of the quarterback snaps. The path for him to not hurt you and builds is there. So I am basically locking him in there. And there weren't that many tight ends that I liked other than him. Okay. There was like Lucas Kroll for the Saints. That was about it. Okay. So like Driscoll just put him in a bunch of builds. And then with that, I actually like stacking him. Like, this is the fun part of this slate, guys, is that we can get away with like a sneaky stack like this. So I'm actually going to take Walker out. We're going to put Davis in there at the running back spot because I like him a little bit better. And then we could do like this very sneaky stack with the Houston Texans receivers. We're looking at Jalen Camp, who's been getting some hype out of camp. That's really all there is to that. And then Johnny Johnson as well. He's been someone that's been getting some hype out of camp. Like, could Philip Dorsett produce if he gets playing time? For sure. Chris Conley, same thing, for sure. But those guys at this point are kind of known factors. They know what they have in them. Nico Collins, maybe. Still a younger receiver. I could see him getting playing time. Brandon Cooks, no reason to really play him too much. Chad Beebe, same thing. The one player that's been getting a lot of hype out of camp is going to be Johnny Johnson, the third. I like him a lot. Like this is just a solid build here. So like we get a stack Driscoll with 2 young receivers that should play a majority of the second half. That's highly intriguing to me, and I think this is a solid build here. Don't take this build. Actually, I don't know about defense. Guys, in the comment section below, let me know which defense is going to be the top defense. I personally think I've been getting lucky, okay? I ended up on the Browns D last night a lot. So far, I have the Chiefs defense, and they're panning out. That was the one I went on the most. I like the Bucks the most thus far. But if I'm missing something there, let me know, because I think that is like the toughest one to gauge. And really, it just typically is a guessing game. Let me know if you guys see an edge there with the defense, all right? But that's all I have for you guys for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you know what to do. Give me that like and subscribe. And as always, guys, let's keep cashing.